Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are we doing? I hope you're well. It is Friday, the 23rd of December. It is very nearly Christmas time. I hope you've got everything bought and paid for, and it's here, it's arrived, and you're not too stressed. I understand it is a stressful time. Um, Myself, to an extent, included. Uh, so, but less so because I'm a man and my wife does a lot of the Christmas present buying for me. So I really need to focus on her and my direct family. Anyway, anyway, it is coming up to the end of the year, so there's a couple of things I want you to do from this session, if you choose to. But I would like it if very much if you did, is to reflect back on this year. Go all the way back to January the 1st and have a little bit think about the things that you've done well, your wins, okay, the things that have gone your way, things that you've worked hard for, things that you've achieved in the last 12 months, and spend a minute or two, okay, writing those down. And that's a nice way to kind of go, do you know what? I have done a lot this year. I have done those things. I have been on holiday. I've spent some great time with my family. I've got my red light. Okay, I've got my red light. I'm using that every day. Okay, whatever it is for you. You've got your blue blocking specs, and you're using those regularly. You've been to the gym, you've done exercise, and you've changed your diet, and maybe lost a few pounds, maybe you put a few back on. Doesn't matter. Okay, but you did those things. Whatever it was you did, well done. Okay, congratulations. You're all here. Fantastic. That is a victory in and of itself. You are still here celebrating the fact that you're alive. So congratulations, well done. So I don't really want to talk about specifically the goals today, okay? But it is the time of year to be really not analysing, but reviewing, I suppose, what went well, what didn't go so well as well. It's always important to reflect back on those things too. Go, okay, well maybe why did that happen? Why did I not achieve that? Why did I not do that thing that I said I was going to do? If I look back, I only really made one goal this year, and that was to get to the gym 3 times a week. And apart from, so on average, I didn't actually count, but including running, because I didn't do much running, but including running, I've probably done 150 workouts this year. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, that's probably about 100 more than I did the year before. Okay, so I've done pretty well this year, and those are consistently throughout the year. There's been a few weeks I've had off, and that was really my number one thing this year. Luckily, not luckily, I suppose, because I have worked for it, and I put myself in the right place at the right time, and I asked the right question, and I got the answer that I think is right for me. Next year, I'm going to have my own clinical space. Okay, I'll say clinical space. It's going to be my version of clinical space. Very much relaxed kind of atmosphere. So I've got that coming in January. So I'm very excited for that. So next year for me is about growing that and reaching more people in a one-to-one, like face-to-face environment. Obviously something I've not done for about 3 years now, but I'm very much looking forward to that, and it's being my rules, my place. I'm allowed to do the things that obviously I'm insured and licensed to do, but the things that I want to do and the things that I want to talk about, and not be constrained by somebody else's policies, which is what would have happened if I've taken the job back at the place where I used to work. Okay? And it's not something I could put my hand on my heart and say that's what I want to do. I had to say no to that earlier this year, September time, I think it was September, maybe October, and I couldn't return to doing the things I was doing before. So today is about building momentum, and so I want you to pick something in the next 12 months that you want to improve. Just one, maybe at the stretch, 2 things. Okay, don't go try and changing the world all in one go. Okay, we'll get overwhelmed. We'll end up feeling disappointed that we haven't done so many things. But it can be as big or as small as you like. And maybe in the next 12 months. Maybe you don't get all the way there, because my goal is to have my own kind of, I suppose almost like a hospital, okay, where I've got functional medical doctors, I've got nurses, I've got maybe psychiatrists and alternative therapies all kind of working together in an environment that's healthy. So we have red light rooms, we have UV light rooms, we have nutrition led and a kind of environment led healing and energy work and all that kind of thing. And that might be 5 years, it might be 10 years away. So this year I might only get 5% of the way to that, okay, because I've now got my first clinical space that's my own. And maybe next year it's to move into something bigger. So this year is, for me, is about growing that so that I can move on to something bigger and better in 2024. And I'm going to set myself some targets, like financially, maybe client-wise, with this group, on things that would lead me to that. Right? So that's my one thing: grow that. Okay, and this, okay, and this the academy, and make sure I'm teaching relevant information. Make sure it's all good for you, and all the people who watch this now and in the future. And I was kind of inspired by a very short video. I actually so TikTok, Instagram, all these and reels and all this kind of stuff, they're not necessarily a complete waste of time, because if you follow the right people, okay, if you follow people who give information that's going to change your life, and it's not just watching videos of cats and things that make you laugh, albeit sometimes we need things that just make us laugh. If we follow those kinds of people, literal influential people, not just influencers, thought leaders in various fields, we can actually learn a lot. So I watched a little one from Jordan Peterson that someone had shared. I don't think it was directly off of Jordan Peterson's direct kind of social media links and stuff. And I'm going to paraphrase roughly what was said in that video, which kind of resonated with me, and resonates with goals, and resonates with this time of year. So I wanted to share that with you today. So he was saying, look, we often have goals, big goals, and we often don't make progress on them because we're looking for some big, fancy, almost like a shortcut. We're looking for some sort of sign from the universe. We're waiting for something, okay, before we actually make any progress on things. We're looking for some kind of shortcut. And in our search and anticipation for that, we neglect these small digestible bites that we could make today. So the things that really stop us from our goals is we're looking at our long-term goal. I've got a couple of examples for you at the end here. Okay, we're looking at our long-term goal and go, oh, I can't do that. It's too big. Okay, so we're trying to get some shortcut to get there faster, or we kind of just give up, because that we're looking at that gap between where we are now and where we want to be, and it might seem like a giant chasm. It's like the Grand Canyon. It's like a mile from one side to the other, and you can't just jump that. Okay. And then we're also looking at other people who have maybe already achieved what we want to achieve, whether it be in business, whether it be in health, whether it be relationships and family and being a parent and all this kind of stuff. We're looking at all these people in their lives, and we're getting the snapshots, the good snapshots generally, on Instagram and on Facebook and on wherever, what other social media we're using. We're seeing that there's the snapshots of the good stuff, and we're not seeing all the shit behind the scenes, okay, which might be just equivalent to what it is like for you. So try and break down whatever kind of 12-month goal you have down into daily habits, okay, daily tasks that might take 5 minutes. Okay, so I'll give you one of mine. Okay, so it's kind of an aside. Okay, so I kind of have two next year. Okay, so one of my goals for next year is to be able to run a half marathon barefoot, no footwear, no socks, no shoes, no sandals, no nothing. Okay, just me and the ground. Okay, me, my feet, and the ground. Okay. So at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm spending time preparing my feet. Okay, so I've got a spiky massage ball. So there's multiple reasons why I'm doing this, but this wasn't the reason why I started. Okay, it's the reason I've kind of come up with now to give me a bit more impetus to keep going. So I'm going to need to look after my feet, and making sure the muscles and the tendons and the fascia and the ligaments and all the kind of stuff in my feet is, and my ankles is working as best I can make it. One of the ways I can do that is through using a massage ball to soften up those tissues and make them work better, and make sure the blood flow and the nerve supply and all the kind of the blood and everything that I need to get to my feet and my skin to protect them and to prepare them for the certainly initially the damage I'm going to be causing to them, and the stress that they're going to be under very early on. And obviously I'm going to take things slowly to begin with, very short runs to start off with, and probably on grass or places where I know that are relatively smooth concrete, smooth pavement. So my local area, I can't do it because all the concrete has all these little pebbles sticking out, and it's like they don't move. So it's horrible. I can't run barefoot here, even in minimalist trainers. I can feel every little bump. It's not nice, but I can start doing it when I drop my kids off at school. I can start doing it over in a park there, so that makes it easy for me. Or that's one way I can start, and it's a nice short route, and I can hop onto the grass if the stones and the pebbles and the ground are getting a bit too much. And over a course of weeks and months, I can increase the amount of distance and start increasing the speed, etc., etc., etc. So break it down into small digestible chunks, something you can do regularly, preferably daily. Okay, but if not daily, 3 or 4 times a week, like I've done with the gym this year. And keep going. Okay, so again, an example is, let's say, weight loss. Okay, let's say you've got to lose 8 kilos, 10 kilos, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. Okay, maybe that's your 12-month target. But focus on 1 kilo or 1 pound at a time. Okay, so this week is a pound. Okay, next week it's another pound. Following week, another pound. Okay, and before you know it, you'll have lost 22 pounds. Okay, it might not be 22 weeks at a pound a week, okay, because some weeks it might go up and other weeks it might drop by 2. Okay, but over the course of 6 months to a year is possible. Okay, and then from that, instead of having this big target that you've got to go for, that you go, oh, 10 kilos, that's a lot of weight. How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? Because when we have that bigger target, we might go full steam straight on, and then we crash. Okay, either we get injured, or we'll get burnt out, we'll get tired, we'll get frustrated, we'll stop. Okay, so keep that, albeit yes, you might want to lose that amount of weight overall, but keep the target small and go, yes, I've lost a pound. Yes, I've lost half a pound. I've gained a pound this week. Okay, what happened? Okay. And start looking at it that way, and it just makes things a little bit more digestible, a little bit more manageable. Okay, and it's going to keep momentum up. Okay, so momentum is about taking small. So in maths, okay, so it's about math. Okay, if you give something, if something's at the top of a hill and you give it a small push, okay, depending on how steep that hill is, okay, it's just going to keep going. Okay, and that weight, that ball or whatever it is at the top of the hill that you pushed, okay, as it's going down the hill, it's gaining momentum. So each pound you lose is momentum. Another pound, momentum. Another pound, momentum. And that might look like going to the gym. It might look like changing nutrition. It might look like, okay, and with it, when it comes to changing nutrition, it might not be you go, right, bam, I'm going to be a carnivore. Okay, bam, I'm going to go vegan. It might be a gradual change over a period of weeks. Okay, right, I'm going to make sure I don't have takeaways this week, okay, or this month. Okay, and that's maybe how you start for a month. Okay, no takeaways. And then month 2, you might start looking at protein intake, okay, rather than doing it all at once. Okay, and then month 3 is, if you're not sleeping right already, okay, you might be remind yourself on the stuff to do for sleep. Okay, and really focus on sleep. I would do that first. Okay, that would be number 1 for me. And get the sleep right, and then the energy's right, and then you're more able to steer clear of you don't get the cravings as much for the sugary food because the sleep and the energy is okay, etc. Okay. Another one for those perhaps more in business, might be more financially kind of like motivated. So at the end of the year, you might have a X amount of money you want to have earned in 2023. Okay, X amount of money in 2023. Okay, but in month one, you're not going to go, let's say you're earning $2,000 a month. Okay, and you want to, by the end of the year, you want $5,000 a month. Okay, so you're not going to get $5,000 a month in month one. Okay? You might, but that might only be luck, and then month two, month three, month four, etc., might be a dip. Okay, and that'd be disappointing. So instead of almost trying to jump up to 5K straight away, okay, how can I get one more client? And then how can I get, in month one, how can I get one more client or two more clients? And it might be that. And how can I then retain those clients a bit longer so that they don't leave after 3 months or 4 months or 5 months? They will stay for 9 months or 10 months or 12 months or possibly even longer. How can I retain them? And then gradually your books, your group program or your one-to-one training or whatever, your product that you're selling, your service that you're selling, whatever it is, it gradually builds and builds and builds. Okay, so again, I'm looking at how am I building this? Okay, because ideally I want this to be my flagship. Okay, I want 100, 150, 200 people in here. That would be amazing. And they stay for a year, 2 years. They get the information they need, and then they might want to stay on for longer, but they might not want to. Okay, but that would be an ideal situation for me, because that's then going to provide me freedom to create the kind of the hospital thing that I would like to have, okay, where people come in with all sorts of things, and 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks later, they walk out without them. And that's my goal. Okay, and I don't want it to be charity based either. Okay, I want it to be a business. So in terms of sales, okay, in terms of if you're a business owner watching this, how can I meet more people? Like literally in real life, how can I get that one conversation? Maybe it's one conversation a day, maybe it's one conversation every other day. Okay? And then you can start working out how many people do I need to speak to every week to get one client a week or to get one client a month? And do I need to speak to 5 people a day, or is one person a day enough? Okay? Do I need to speak to 10 or 20? Okay, but looking at 20 people a day when you're just starting out and you currently only speak to one, okay, or even none, looking at the number of 20, I need to speak to 20 people a day. I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea how to do that. Okay, but going to the gym environment for me will enable me to be able to speak to more people per day than I currently am. So have a little think about, what's the small step? Okay, speak to one person per day, or 5 people a week, okay? Or lose 1 kilo or a pound. It doesn't have to be in a week, but focus on losing that 1 pound. Okay, how could I lose that 1 pound? Okay, because how you lose that first pound is going to be different to how you lose pound 20, okay, in pound 21 and pound 22, and you've got your 10 kilo target. Okay, the things you have to do up here are different to the things you have to do down here. Okay, so don't focus on the end. Okay, remember the end result and how you're going to feel at the end of that. Okay, because you're going to feel much better with the body shape and the muscle tone and or the financial change or the relationship change, whatever your goal is, you're going to feel better. Remember that. Okay, that's fine. You can remember that. Okay, get into that as often as you can. How am I going to feel with this end result? Cool. But what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? That's that small target. The talking to the someone. It's the preparing that meal. It's the getting to the gym. It's the having the conversation with that family member. The hug, the kiss, the little bit of extra time and attention you've given to a loved one that's going to change that relationship. And that's going to give you the momentum to do the bigger things later down the line that are going to be harder, that you probably could do now. But because they're big, you don't have the momentum to actually do them. You don't necessarily have the confidence to do that bigger thing right now. Okay, to have that conversation with that certain person, okay, or to make the phone call to the person who's going to help you raise funds for your business, to speak to the functional medical doctors. Okay, this is kind of my stuff. Okay, so remember that when it comes to your goals, bring it down to the, again, a mathematical term, the lowest common denominator. Okay, what is the smallest thing that I need to do on a daily, or at the very least regular basis, that's going to get me there in the end? Okay, it's going to get me the next step, and then the next step I might need to do something a little bit different, and then the step after that I might need to do something a bit different again. I might not. I might just need to do it in the same thing. Okay, but what is it? Okay, listen to your heart. Okay, try and take the logic centers out of it and go, close your eyes and just go, okay, whatever the thing is you've decided, does this feel right? Does this feel like the right thing to be doing today? Does this feel like the right goal for me for the next 12 months? And just sit there and you'll hear an answer. There'll be a yes or a no, or there'll be fear, or there'll be some sort of, there'll be something. Okay. So try and listen to your intuition. Okay. And hopefully you've thought about your goal and gone asked your intuition. Okay, yeah. Is that the right thing to do? Yeah, cool. And then start thinking about your actions that you could take. Maybe write a list. You can muscle test this stuff as well. Okay, so you can write a list down and go, okay, what's my first small step? Okay, muscle test. Okay, it's not that one. Next one. This is my first small step. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Okay, or da, 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 da. Okay, and run through your list of maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 things. What's my first step? Okay, muscle test. Okay, and you stand up. You need to check yourself first. So state your name. My name is Peter. Sway forwards. Okay. My name is Susan. Sway backwards. Excuse me. I'll answer that in a minute. And then go through, is this the right thing? Is this the right goal? Or this, no, in fact, you need to change it. That's not the right question. This is the right goal. Okay, and read your goal. Sway forwards or backwards. Okay, and if you sway backwards, you might need to rethink your goal. But hopefully you sway forwards. And then start thinking about the first steps. Okay, is this is the right first step? Read the first step. Sway forwards or backwards. This is the right first step. Okay, and read the second one on your list. Okay, sway forwards or backwards. Okay, and the one you swing forwards on is the one you should do first. that's kind of how muscle testing in a certain way works. Okay, cool. So get your goals, start building momentum. I'll see you soon.